Thank you for tuning in today. Uh, I'm new to content creation, so I hope this isn't too bad. But I just kind of wanted to break down some of the features of and making of some of my props that I've made. These are the two I'm kind of going to be showing off today. I think some of you guys have probably seen this stuff already because I posted some pictures and stuff of this on some various Discord groups and Reddit threads. So this is the Centauri Saber I made. So all of the stuff I 3D modeled based off of the card art and then printed and finished a little bit. I'm new to this, so be gentle, be nice. But yeah, so I made the model for this. So I made a model of the Guardian Hammer Anothos or Anathos. Pronunciation is not my strongest suit when it comes to weird, wacky names like that. But that was the first one I made, and it's a very simple kind of, I don't know, it's not super highly accurate. It's very, very low poly, I guess is the best way to put it. But the links to all these files are going to be on my thingiverse. They're all free, of course. And I'll include that in the comments, or not the comments, but the description down below. So if you guys have a 3D printer and you want to print this stuff, or if you want to send the files out somewhere to be printed, feel free. I'm excited to see other renditions of my work. But yeah, so I'm not done with this. It definitely needs some more finishing work. But I kind of wanted to break down, like, not so much the modeling process, which if you're interested in seeing my modeling process, I'm more than happy to kind of share that as well. But video is mostly going to be about, like, after the model is printed, how I got it to the state that it's in now. So I'll briefly touch on this, and then we'll get to the gun, which is the more exciting of the two, in my opinion. But this, like I said, so this thing is huge. It's way bigger than it should be. It's probably like, I don't know, 5.5, 6 feet long. But I suck at scale. That's another thing. If you do print this stuff, you might want to kind of think about scaling on your own, because I don't think the scales for anything on my Thingiverse are very good. I think for the card dividers, I think I put exactly what scale to do to make them, like, perfectly fit, like a card box, and be good for that. But this, on the other hand, I printed way too big. So I'm going to print 2 more of these, probably like actual intended size. But yeah, there's a couple things I'm not super excited or not super happy with how they came out or are as of now. One being, I haven't finished painting it. I haven't painted this little pommel bit silver. But I mean, I am really proud of how a lot of the finishing came out. Like, the handle, I think, came out really good. That black, I sanded the heck out of this with up to 600 grit. It just sanded the absolute heck out of it. So it's super smooth. Like, it feels like butter in the hands. But yeah, you can actually probably see it. But this piece and this one up here, I've broken them off several times and then had to use my soldering iron and fuse them back together, which this whole thing was printed in about 7 pieces, I think, and then fused together. You can actually see the fuse lines in a couple different places. Like, I think here's one, because I used to use wood. This one's a little faint, but you can definitely see it. Like, you can't feel it running your finger over it, but it's because I didn't put enough layers of paint over the wood filler. It looks a little bit textured, a little bit different. So there's one really apparent one. Oh, there it is. It was under my hand. This one's really apparent because the wood filler started cracking before I painted it, and I was too lazy to go back and fix it. So when I make the smaller ones, I'm going to do a lot better job finishing it. This was just kind of more of a test print / test finish thing anyways. Considering this was the first, like, major prop I made. I've printed an Iron Man helmet that I'm pretty proud of, and a couple other things like that. But yeah, you can definitely see where I fused it together right here. The top looks pretty decent, I'd say, aside from that. I got most of the layer lines out. You can do, every now and then you'll see, like right here, you can see some layer lines. But here's another fuse point. And then I'm not happy with how this paint, I was trying to make a gradient, and I accidentally, Well, so most of this I just straight masked and spray painted, but this I actually brushed on. I guess sprayed some spray paint on a palette, and then tried to use that because I didn't have any gold traditional paint. Tried to use that to paint on here. I also put some clear coat on it, which it makes it too shiny in my opinion. But the once it dried, it didn't look as good because the weird way that paint mixtures happen. But like up here, I think this turned out really good where it's gold, and I also touched it with some copper to make it look. It's got like a nice, beautiful transition between gold and copper. It looks a lot better in person. The camera makes it kind of difficult to get across, but yeah. So for the sword, I'll finish up here, and then we'll move on to the gun. Kind of points to note if you do decide to print it, these are gonna break. Just glue them or fuse them back together. I did a little bit of both. And then paint it back, and nobody will notice. Like, this is broken into this. Oh no, it wasn't even broken there. That's just a weird way. It was broken right here, and then right here. And then this one broke off right here. But you can't even tell that the top one was broken. It looks brand new. So, as long as you, whoops, shaking the camera a little bit. As long as you are pretty good with how you glue it back together, it'll be fine. I fused the different pieces. Just like I said, I used wood filler on it, but I fused them. I just took my soldering iron and kind of cut grooves into it, and then smoothed it out a little bit, and then filled it in with wood filler. I think Bondo is what I'm gonna try now. So Bondo will probably work a little bit better for you. But yeah, that's that. Like I said, it was printed in about 7 different pieces, and then just essentially stitched together. So pretty happy with that came out, but really happy with how this came out. So this is probably why you are watching the video. This is, yeah, I think this came out really, really good. Really well, whatever. I think it's really good. I don't know. Anyways, it looks really good, to say the least. So this is another model that and I think I've already said this, but all these models are going to be, you know, for free on my Thingiverse. This one, I haven't uploaded the files for those yet, but they're coming. Don't worry. But yeah, so this is the Teklo Plasma Pistol. It is not 100% accurate to the art, but I couldn't really get any really high resolution images of the art. So I was kind of shooting in the dark a little bit, and just I kind of had to make some design choices of my own for this. So a couple things I wanted to point out if you guys decide you want to create your own one once I get the files up. I would recommend printing this in a couple different pieces. So first thing I want to touch on is this thing right here. So it actually, I'm sure you saw me fiddling with it just a second ago, it actually freely spins. I kind of wanted to break down how I did that. So these wires are kind of annoying, I'm not gonna lie. But there were wires on the I'll put this over here. There were wires in the image, the card art image, so I thought I had to. But you can see right here, this is actually a purse clasp magnet. So it comes in 2 different pieces. You can buy like, I think like 100 of them online for like $7 or something. This is that piece, and then on the back, also excuse the back, I haven't done any finishing on the back at all, so it looks really rough. These, so I'll touch on this in just a second when I get into how I broke this down into different pieces and why. But this is support scarring, which is why it looks so rough. And that is because the support's kind of like dug into the texture a little bit. Like support scarring is a nightmare for the type of 3D printer I have. But what I did was I heated the ends, there's like these 2 little prongs that come off of the magnet, and I just bent them like flat kind of, and then since they're metal, I used the soldering iron and just kind of pushed them into the plastic and melted them in it, and then I covered it up. I just melted plastic over top of it to keep it secure in there. But I thought it was cool to kind of let us freely rotate. I don't know that was the intention on the art, because it kind of looked like it was actually bolted into the handle, like over here maybe. But I don't know. I thought it was a cool little feature to add some like dynamic dynamicacy. Is that a word? I don't know. Whatever, to the build. But I mean, the rest of the thing is, the print is pretty straightforward. I did want to get into how I broke it down to print it, which once I upload the files, I'll probably upload the pre-sliced files that I use to print as well. But I cut it. You can't super see it, but like right here. Well, actually, if you see it, you see that like line that goes around. That's the kind of the point where I cut it. So I cut. So from essentially this line down was one piece, and I printed it this way up, and that was so that these upward facing things didn't have to have any supports. So I didn't get the support scarring. Sorry, my camera's shaking a little bit. Like on the underside of that. So that was a really good call in my opinion. It came out great. And then the back half, so basically from here up, was all one piece, but I split it in half. Whoops. You can actually kind of see, I didn't do a super great job of fusing this just because I was in a hurry. And plus, I think the like dented, banged up look actually really adds a lot to the design of the pistol. Because I tried to paint, when I painted it, I made it look super grungy. Like, look at this. Oof. That weathering, man. Oh, man, that looks good in my opinion. Actually, the like really weird copper color right there is where I actually took a lighter to the spray paint and burned it. It like caught on fire. It looked, I think the end effect was really, really cool. But yeah, so I split that in half. I printed this. So I had a flat surface to print from. So basically printed from here up, flat surface. So it all came out, no supports. And then from here up, all flat. So there's not really any support scarring on either of these two pieces because there were no supports really. And then the only other things I wanted to kind of note was these are just wires I had laying around from wiring up an Iron Man helmet. And I just glued them. I twisted them together and glued them to this kind of, I don't know, whatever you call this. And then glued the other ends. I drilled some holes, stuck the wires in, and glued them in. There are a couple screws. Oh, also this piece right here, the little red dial, these hands turn not well, but they turn. And then these gears turn as well. So I printed those separately, and then they just click into the like little, I don't know, whatever you call those. And then there's 3 screws. Those are kind of the only other parts you'll need aside from the wires and like your glue and paint and soldering iron to fuse it together if you do go that route. I'm also going to include the whole file if you have a printer, like a resin printer or something that can print it all with no support scarring. But this is literally just another one of these gears that I printed another one of, and then I screwed it in. It actually ended up breaking it a little bit. You can see it's not off, or it's a little off center. So that's just a screw in the middle, painted gold. And then these 2 are actual screws as well. I mixed and matched these screws because I thought that would make it look more like handmade, cobbled together kind of deal, which is the vibe I got from the art. But they're just nails that not spray painted, but actually used a brush on these. Just painted the ends black. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, if you're printing it and you run into any issues, please let me know. Oh, also, I forgot to put a hole here. I'll probably update the file before I post it, but I just used my little drilled a little hole there because the art had one. Also, the end, this like cool texture I have here. So I spray painted the whole thing black, and then I spray painted the whole thing silver. Also, when you spray paint for masking purposes, I highly recommend frog tape, sorry. Not duct tape, frog tape. Frog tape is great. But I spray painted it black, and then I spray painted it silver. And before the silver had dried, I have like a drying drop cloth thing. I set it on the cloth and kind of like let it sit for a couple seconds and then ripped it off. So it kind of left that like that cool kind of worn metal kind of texture to it. I think this look turned out really good, the metal kind of aspects. And then I went around the inner edge right here with a paintbrush with some black paint and acrylic paint, and then just kind of like rubbed it a little bit with my finger to kind of like diffuse the color so it looks like it's like had something, I don't know, molten flying out of it, or a bullet flying out of it, or whatever. So yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna work on next. I'm spitballing some ideas for a Viscerai themed Iron Man armor, which I think is gonna be really cool. Probably gonna do the Grasp of the Arknight. Will probably be one of the next things I make. If there are any other like, oh, also I'm modeling an Arcanite skull cap, but that is proving to be difficult. So if you guys have anything you want me to attempt to model, I'm not going to make any promises, but leave it down in the comments. I'll see about, you know, the possibility of doing that. Yeah, if there's anything else you want to see, if you want to see my modeling process, let me know. I can probably do like a time lapse or something, get it on YouTube for you guys. Probably not for these because I've already modeled them, you know. Also, I'm not super happy with how this came out, so I might change that out, but we'll see. But yeah, I'll probably provide updates on the Viscerai Iron Man armor periodically. No promises. I don't even know if I'm actually going to do that because it's going to be a long project. It's probably going to be a whole year doing that. These guys only took me a couple days a piece to design and print, but the Viscerai one, because since it's a whole armor set, it's going to take a little while. So please be patient with that. But if you want to see me actually play the game, I'm actually a level 1 judge. So if you need any rules, interaction, questions answered, let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer for you. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what kind of content you want to see, because like I said, I'm really new to this whole content creation thing. And give me some ideas for what I should model and print. Yeah, it doesn't have to be flesh and blood related, but that's preferred. So anyways, take care, guys.